Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. The title sponsor of Manny Talks Shooting is Go Fast Don't Suck. So if you need match banners for your match, check them out. They also have an awesome selection of pre-designed and customable jerseys. Don't forget, they are the home of the dry fire decals for your walls, so get those too. They've also got a plethora of patches and stickers that are hilarious and true. You know, Go Fast Don't Suck has a lot of things that you'll need on the range and off, so please check them out at gofastdon'tsuck.net. Welcome everybody, welcome back to another episode of Manny Talk Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet, because that's where you consume all of your media, because you are not old, you do not read books, you just listen to audiobooks, podcasts, and the television if you actually have cable television. If not, you stream it all. But without further ado, we're going to talk to the man who loves scary fish as a logo. We're talking to Mr. Nathan Carter of Shooting Sports Innovations. How you doing, Nathan?
Ooh, hello.
It's good to have you on finally. I know our friends in North Carolina have probably pestered you and me enough about, like, why hasn't Nathan been on the show yet?
Yes, especially Royer calling me gay. It's really painful.
Well, I mean, you did give him the advice: use all the free advertising you can. So, it's like, oh, I should take my own advice then. But so some people who probably are getting into the competition scene or aren't even into competition might not know who you are. But Nathan, who are you, and how did you get into shooting?
Ooh, wow. Okay, so I am the owner of Shooting Sports Innovations. When you place an order with me or call, you're talking to me directly. I started shooting back in 2006 to 2008. I was married in 2002 and started using a handgun and realizing that I needed training to properly protect my family. And 2006 to 8 or so, did a bunch of multiple courses, joined USPSA in 2009. And from there on, it's just been a roller coaster of fun, and using that community and problems and trying to solve problems to create products and build the brand. Mm-hmm. The brand is it's a blessing at this point because it's my full-time job.
Right, and you had a very nice career, especially down there, right? I don't know how much you want to talk about it because I know how Royer is about mentioning where he actually works, but
right.
But it's also in the past. So you got to do some cool things and see some cool things in your past line of work.
Yes. I worked at Hinder Motorsports in the engine engineering group. Practically a self-taught design engineer. Did it for 24 years, and some things happen that just flip the switches, and you realize that I need to devote way more time to a business that was started in 2012 that's been growing, and no regrets. It's been a great move.
That is awesome to hear, and it's really cool because it's not a lot of people who have a side hustle or a side business like this are actually able to make it full time. There's other circumstances, but it's cool to see that you've actually been able to take it and provide for your family with it, which is really cool.
I mean, while you're doing the 9 to 5 or 7:30 to 4:30 job, and dealing with the stress and all that stuff, you kind of use a side hustle as a release, right? Somewhere else to escape from the stress and build it as you need. And yeah, you couldn't live off of it at the beginning, obviously. So a side hustle, yeah, for sure, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. So when you said, back in, 2006, you started taking courses and then eventually found USPSA, how did you find out about it in the first place?
So 2006 to 8, with a guy who was actually a cowboy shooter at work at Hendrick, we went up to Pat Goodell's, which is Practical Firearms Training in West Virginia, and started taking courses with him, and found out right quick that a firearm is a tool, and this training is as close to military as you could get, as he trains special forces and many other people up there. So went through those courses as just a way to learn how to properly manipulate and use a firearm. And it just got to the point where all the courses were done and shooting a little bit here and there, and just heard from a friend, hey, they're having these IPSC matches at Rowan, and they happen, second Saturday of every month. And by God, I took my Blade Tech and my Glock 23 and went up and gave it a shot. Been hooked ever since.
That's pretty cool. So, Glock 23. So, did you still shoot production, or did you come in shooting limited?
Started in production. Had white box 40, heavy recoil, letting it rip. Didn't have a whole lot of movement speed at all, but somewhat accurate. Could draw the gun pretty quick, but definitely realized that it was fun, and I enjoyed the adrenaline and the people. I mean, the people were just amazing, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's always the cool part, right? Well, and it's not Rowan. Did you even know where Rowan was before then, or is that how you found Rowan as well?
No, that's how I found Rowan.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. So it's got to be a nice facility. I mean, you keep going back there every once in a while.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's really good on drainage.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. It has shade, which is important. It has everything you need, and just a great group of people, great staff.
Yeah, that has got to be the best part about it. All the amenities, everything you want, nothing you don't, and it's close, right? I mean, not as close. We're not that lucky. We're not as close as Brian Wolf, who lives like 10 minutes from the range, but
right.
But you'll take what you can get.
Yeah, I've been asked many times, why don't you join? Why don't you join? And I don't need to. I'm living on family land and have a little range that I use myself, so there's no reason for me to drive 30 minutes. But yeah, he's really close.
Yeah, and pay like $1 million in the beginning, and then. But I can understand that, I guess, right? It just keeps the riffraff out instead of causing problems. They gotta get through that barrier to entry. So.
Yeah, and it's a good place too. I mean, the money they have, they use it wisely, and then they're constantly building and growing and adding different shooting options for people, because not everybody wants to run around in a dirt pit. Some people want to just get in between some concrete walls and shoot steel. So they have that now.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is correct. Not every range has got to have something for everybody, right? If it's shotgun, rifle, pistol, whatever.
Right.
So you started in production with the Glock. How long did it take you to ditch the plastic fantastic and go to something more competition focused?
So I hate it's not there anymore. We reminisce from time to time. Statesville was on Sunday, and it was always, I believe, the third Sunday, and sometimes it would be a back-to-back, right, where you had Rowan was Saturday and Statesville was Sunday, and that match was so much fun, and that happened to be maybe about 2011 or so. So a couple years in, took a Glock 35, and of course make sure it makes major and everything, and that's where I dabbled in limited, which was fun at first, until you borrow somebody's gun, and whenever somebody gives you a Brazos limited gun and you shoot it, you're just blown away by it. So, and I've been doing the same thing ever since. I ruin people left and right with nice custom 2011s whenever they've never shot one before. It's kind of fun spending other people's money, right?
Right, exactly. And the best part is, it's like, oh, I have something for that. I can, see, it's just a one-stop shop. You buy this gun, you come get this part, and it's going to be great.
Well, maybe.
Right? But so then you go into shooting limited, and then eventually at some point you went and shot single stack for a while too.
Yeah, I don't remember whenever I went and dove into that addiction. I would say that would be more like maybe 2016 or so. So there was a long span of shooting limited for sure, and I mean product development, honestly, during that.
Right.
What, 2012, that's whenever Shooting Sports Innovation started, and Scary Fish, and the first product was Kudalube. So, we had these hot steel limited guns, and a certain brand I won't name was all you really had, and you got through shooting and it was gunked up and full of carbon, and you could watch the slide cycle while you were shooting. It burn off. Everybody in open was complaining about their oil burning off and everything. So the first product from industry hate was Kuda Lube. After that, the next year was the Nitro Fin, which is a slide stop replacement. That's been still going strong.
Mm-hmm. So you're shooting limited. Was that because, and besides, Major Power Factor and custom 2011s, did you stay there for a while because everyone was pretty much shooting limited at that point in those years?
Yeah, it was, good Lord, it was at least 70 to 80% of everybody was shooting limited back then. And then the Michael Holler gang and stuff were the production shooters, right? They were the GM's national top 16 guys. Pretty limited group were shooting with us in the production world.
Mm-hmm. That's production. The diehards. Do you see any people shoot production still?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, new shooters, they'll come in and want to shoot production, and then we'll look at their mags and tell them just shoot limited minor, stack them full, and let's be safe and have fun. Versus all the reloads, which, well, that was whenever it was 10 rounds, so now it's 15. It's not near as painful. Not like Major 8 single stack. That's very painful these days. Good Lord, the last match that we had, it was just hose fest everywhere, and I was thinking, man, if I had 8 and there's 9 shots in every single position, I was like, no, this is not going to work.
Yeah, and especially think about it, an unloaded start 8-round major guy, like then you're just like, no, I'm just going home.
I mean, don't get me wrong though, because when you have that challenge, when you weren't expecting it, you only brought one gun, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to shoot single stack. You have no idea how they're going to set up the match. I mean, and then they throw it down and they just sit there and grin at you. You just kind of go, all right, come on, bring it. Let's do this. And your Randy Arrowwood style, grabbing 2 mags, throwing one in, loading, dropping, throwing another one in, and just, eating it up, having a good time. And sometimes it works out great. It is a fun challenge. But I mean, honestly, to be competitive, these days, you got to have capacity to run with. If you feel like you want to, finish top 10.
Right. Well, and that also comes down to local stage design and how they're setting up the match too. But yeah, it is now about the time of red dots and high capacity.
Yeah, and you're not going to see me with a dot. I've been trying a little bit more and more. I have astigmatism that's pretty nasty, and even have glasses now, and I'm just gonna stick to my irons for now.
Yeah. So speaking of irons, are you a red fiber or a green fiber kind of person?
Green.
Green.
Yep.
I guess do you think the green helps with the astigmatism or no?
I just pick up green a whole lot better, and especially with all the red dirt and red mud we have around here. So whenever you have a berm that's all beat up, showing red, the green pops.
Gotcha. That makes sense, right? Now, but what we have is up here at least is a lot of green. So, but yeah, it all depends. Like most of you might have gravel pits down there in North Carolina, but here in Michigan we have sandy ass, terrible sand pits. Essentially, it's horrible, but we survive. That's for sure. So, you said you started the company in 2012, and you just said that Kuda Lube was the first product.
Yep.
What was it like to make your first sale to somebody that wasn't related to you?
That was very interesting. It's in a gun store right now, and me and Little Cash actually restocked them today, a local gun store, and they have rentals guns there that have issues, and we're going down left and right, especially a lot of the little 22s. So making a sale to, the gun store type people who see all walks of life, and hearing their stories of how they've used it and how it has prevented guns from malfunctioning and they run all day long was very rewarding for sure.
Right, and it was probably even more rewarding to be like, hey, we could use another another batch of that, right?
Right. Yep. Yep. They've been a good customer ever since. They've done a great job.
Well, that's cool to see that the local places still has and still will hold your product, which is awesome. Now,
And it's a cutthroat thing. I mean, gun oil is just like, the big boys are in there. I'm just a single little guy, right? So here I am taking knowledge from the job of being able to mix something that lasts 500 miles on a racetrack, right, and kind of convert it to a high temp need, sticky, stay put type of oil that'll stay slick in all conditions. It's been analyzed a couple times from in the industry. I don't know if anybody's done a full blown copy of it, but it's a battle that is I just don't want a part of, right? So you just got to get going with it and just see where it leads.
Right. Well, and it's probably almost nigh impossible to patent or trademark the recipe or because then it's just more battles with money and lawyers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no one's got time for that because
no.
But so then you said that the NitroFin was your second product, and probably do you feel that this product's probably the product you're most known for then?
I love YouTube videos and coining the NitroFin as the name, which Shay Akai, actually of Akai Custom Guns, helped kind of coin that one. Which Fin, Nitro Fast, Scary Fish, all that stuff kind of ties together. But you hear that name NitroFin as in comparing, right? Is this the NitroFin killer? When I hear that or see that on a video, I love it. It's not like Q-tips, right? Which isn't actually the brand, but that name, when you hear Q-tip, you know what a Q-tip is, right? So it's been a very, very good product, and actually this year is the highest number of parts I have made to date, with a large batch going in every month to MPA right now.
That has got to be nice. And you also I'm assuming you supply Shooters Connection and Ben Steger, don't you? Ben Steger Pro Shop.
Yep. Speed Shooters International and Ben Stogers right now are like major players.
Right. Well, that's nice. I mean, you just fill their order and then you'd be like, oh, and then you do. It's not that it's probably rare. Less people probably travel to your site, unfortunately, but it's how it is. But
yeah, I don't pick out exactly the needle points on it, but last year, you want to guess how many total people came to the website last year? Give it a shot. Looking at it right
here. 450,000 hits.
God, I love you. You're so positive. I love it. Yeah, 55,000. You weren't close, but I like your positivity.
Hey, you never know, right? Doesn't mean that they bought much, but if it clicked on it,
yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, it's because you need to change the website name because it's too long. People can't spell it. I mean, Steve says it's like the North Carolina sobriety test, for Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes I think I could knock it down some, but I don't know. We're gonna ride this thing as long as it'll go, right? Shooting Sports Innovations, let her rip.
Well, if you think about it, your phone will spell it for you. You just got to start type enough letters in it, and it's okay.
That's true.
So the NitroFin, there's different models, because obviously different guns, 2011s, 1911s, CZs. What made you want to create the product in the first place?
So all the open guns, like Crack Rock, you shoot one of them and you just got to have it, right? And just that indexing point of an open gun at the time was just like, whoa, this is great, right? I really like this. And the rules started rumoring around that they were going to change the rule to allow thumb rests on limited guns at the time. I guess that rule change did happen, I think, in 2013. So you hear wind of that, and it's like, okay, look, we gotta do something here. So let's solve this problem and let's make this happen. And just sat down and designed what I wanted, where I wanted my thumb to be, what I thought felt good. Took SLA part, which is a liquid printed part, out to, I don't know, about 8 or 9 people that I know that had different size hands and everything, just to kind of get their feedback on it, and settled in on a really good location for the thumb, the index, and went into production.
That's pretty awesome right there. I mean, and that's cool that you even you went out and had that many people test it with different hand styles and shapes, and probably different ways of gripping a gun too, right? Not everyone grips it exactly the same, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's one thing I have definitely learned through all these years. With the scale grips for CZs, because there were no grips out there for CZ, so hey, solve the problem. To the bike grips and the perming grips for the 1911s, solve a problem. It's all these different grips that are out there. Is not everybody has the same size hands, and there's only so much you can do, right? I mean, you can't make the perfect set of grips. You can't make the perfect thumb rest. You just can't make exactly what somebody needs for all over the world that everybody wants. But you can take a really damn good swing at it, and cross your fingers and see how it works. And so far, that paddle and where it's located and everything it's pretty addictive. People really like it and they enjoy it. They enjoy the index point. They enjoy the recoil control. Try to keep fit and finish and everything really nice. So for those copycats in other countries, they have copied plenty of times in other countries, and they always come back to me because the quality isn't a MIM part. It's a billet 17.4 part, and then the quality, fit, and finish is where it needs to be. It's good.
Right, and if you're not handy with guns, better take it to a gunsmith to make sure you fit it to your gun properly, and because it's not necessarily a drop-in part, but it could be.
Right. It's just like if you were to replace a regular slide stop, and that's something that we have fought for a while, because you don't have to build a 1911 or 2011 to a print or to mil spec. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. And through the years, it's the standard STI frame is what we're locked it in on, with a couple changes to work with SV, which were the two at the time, right, that were out there. And then as other manufacturers, Freedom Gun Works, Atlas, people like that came in, they go changing their frames, right? And you have to decide, am I going to change this piece of the nitro fin to match their frame, or stay true to the STIs and SVs? And we stuck true to it. And here we are. We got Staccatos, we got Prodigies. People are buying them left and right for those guns, and knock on wood, right now, pin size and everything's lining up, and they're dropping in.
That is pretty nice, and it even fits on the Platypus, which is an interesting gun. I'm going to say that.
Yes, and a couple local guys actually helped me out there. They just went for it and bought one, and basically you just remove the tab to clear the magazine, since they put the magazine at a different angle and up top. Further forward, and they're running them all day long.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty awesome. So, with you have the nitro fin. It's does awesome. Everyone loves them. They because I do know a few people locally. My buddy Chris Vasilian up at my home club. That's what he uses on his guns, right? And that's cool. His thumb rest of choice. He's not a frame mount kind of guy. Even in limited, he was shooting with them. So it's always everyone's got a personal opinion too. Is it frame mounted? Is it a thumb rest? Is it a slide lock?
I mean, some people want to have their thumb natural. Some people want to have them like sticking way far up. I mean, it's really what you like and what feels best to you, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. So, at what point did you decide to start dabbling in SLS printing?
So SLS, the technology, I was using it at the previous job for lots of underhood, high temp parts and areas, lots of mock-up parts because it's so accurate. So I always had a love for SLS parts and their use. And that was the first thing 2 years ago that we purchased. That was the big swinging for the fence, let's make it happen, was to get the Fuse 1 SLS for mocking up parts and in-use parts.
Mm-hmm.
But SLS technology, it's been around for years. It's just always been super expensive, and I was actually farming out, the bottom feeder magwell for the MPX pistols or rifles. That was big when PCC came out, and I was farming those out to SLS job shops. And it's pretty pricey actually to keep going like that and keep it rocking, especially when orders are coming in and people are knocking on your door, hey, let's go. So that whole experience was an eye opener for me that if I was going to do this full time, that we need to go and get one and have it in house for sure.
Well, it's gonna return on itself, right? Because you're gonna be able to make your own parts at your own pace, and it's let you really explode your product line. Like almost everything you do now, I mean, other than things that are machined,
right,
is SLS, which is pretty cool, right? Like if you can draw it, you can make it essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a fantastic tool for sure, and it's a pretty durable tool. Until you put it in a SDS hammer bit and have somebody grab it on a jagged bent nail and put it on an angle and just drive it on the ground. I mean, that's probably the sad fact is it works good until you like really push it hard in like a hammering type situation. That's been like the negative portion of it, but it got the SDS hammer bit started as that protective sleeve to help keep the nail lined up, and now we're making them out of aluminum and anodizing them, so they're going to last a whole lot longer. So it was a good stepping stone.
Yes, it definitely is. That is cool because you can take a product from concept and usage and then into final production, which is cool because you can figure out if people actually there's a need for it too, right? Instead of going and investing in a machining of the process.
Right. So use it a lot in those tungsten slugs for sure. I mean, big time usage there. There's not models out there showing you the full cavity of a Glock, right? I wanted to, make sure it fit and worked and everything was perfect. And it took, 3 or 4 times of drawing it to get it nailed down before you go in and, make it out of tungsten, which is of course very expensive. But the bite grips for the 1911s, that shows you right there. I mean, that's something that's impossible to machine. It's got the pockets on the inside and the way that they're made to hold tungsten plates on the inside if you want to add weight to your 1911, and then the serrations on the outside. I mean, that's pretty trick right there. That was a good challenge, and I thoroughly enjoy the bite grips just because you can't make it. I mean, and you could possibly injection mold that, but I don't think you would ever be able to take it out of the mold. And it's got its place for sure.
Yeah. I think you'd probably scrap more parts if you'd injection molded it than you'd make good parts.
Yeah, and honestly, SLS, that's one of their big things is they want you to quit using injection molding. They want you to just use SLS. I kind of understand that, but I like to be able to pivot. You know what I mean? It's somebody comes in, they copy your product. What are you going to do? Well, like maybe somebody in California slides in and copies your magwell or something. and what do you do, right? Okay, your sales plummet because that name brand's on there, and now they're making a part that's almost an exact copy. Well, you didn't do any injection molding, you didn't use the $10,000 to $20,000 to make that part, so it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, that is for sure. What made you decide to? If anyone's listeners, go check out shootingsportsinnovations.com. I'm perusing the catalog of many things that look super cool. What made you want to do AR and AK grips?
That came from the 3-gun guys. The shooting team really started to dwindle away, but the 3-gun guys were still shooting at a really good clip. And they were shooting these AK shotguns called Dissidents, and they couldn't get. They had new guns that they couldn't let go because they didn't have the grips for them yet, and it was a Russian grip that went on those. So I took the challenge. Right? They said, "Hey, we need this," and here we went. And about 2 or 3 revisions. Actually, I'm on the 4th revision right now on them. But yeah, that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it for the team guys, and then it turned into they're showing it to other people. And then they want it, and then, hey, can you make it for the AR? And it was like, they want it just like this, but with the AR top portion. Sure, let's go. Draw away. There it is, and it's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And they, different shapes, different sizes. You got the shelf options. You got the fat bottoms. Like, I think you could, whatever you want, you could make. Now, let's see. Oh, I think I've messaged you more times than enough about him, but it's like the overlay belt keeper.
Yes,
is genius because
Thank
now
you.
they're not in my pockets. I don't have to go back to my cart.
Yep.
Everyone on my that I'm affiliated with locally here, I made sure to give them one for Christmas. I'm like, here, put this on your belt. Here, put this on your belt. Well, now, like, even at a major, like, because I work staff day most times, I'm like, I call for an overlay, and the RO's like, who's got overlays? I'm like, here, use mine.
Yep.
I'm like, I just want those back when you don't give me the right call, though.
Yep. Yeah, they even get used at GSSF matches, believe it or not. Been doing a lot of those lately, and they'll look at one and say, it might be touching line. I'm not quite sure, and it's like, whoosh, this is an overlay. Let's look, and that works out rather well.
Right. Now, speaking of GSSF matches, is it? It's like It's like the NRA Tombstone target, isn't it?
They have their own custom one now, but they have their own. I mean, it's a square target with rings. Yeah. Oh. Zero down is it's a pretty nice size ring, and then there's a 1 second outside of that, and then anywhere on the target is 3 seconds added on. If you miss it altogether, is 10 seconds.
Gotcha.
They sling them out there at 25 yards too, so it's pretty challenging at speed.
Oh yeah, definitely at speed. Like I just shot the Buckeye Blast a couple weeks ago, and there was a 40-yard open IPSC target, paper target. Just took your time, press the trigger. Hopefully the dot returns where you want it, and send another one. A lot of people had a lot of mics because they were just shooting. They didn't watch their dot enough for their sights. They just were like, oh, there should be 2 on that target at 30 plus yards.
Yeah,
25 splits.
Yeah, I haven't dabbled in IDPA much at all. I mean, a little bit, but not enough to get a vest. Always borrowed. But now that they have that time plus there, I'm sure it's totally changing that sport. Just to experience how, adding those seconds for penalties can really ruin you as far as your total score goes.
Yes, that is for sure. Now, I think the latest product that I've been falling in love with the years, which is the brass Vortex, right? Like this thing is like, I blame Mr. John Royer.
Because,
it is, because he cranks out ammo as it is. But because I have to load, he doesn't make my spicy ammo anymore, so I've got to load my own. And I'm just like, I was disappointed. It's been a journey. I've been disappointed in the Dillon case feeder, right? It's the newer case feeder, and I could barely get 300 to 400 pieces of brass in this thing. So I finally got myself a GAA plate, Yeah. And then I'm like, but I already had the Vortex. So I had the Vortex, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not getting any jams. But I'm like, let's crank the speed on this thing and see if it actually works. So I got the DAA plate. Yep. Oh my Lord. Like the thing, I could just let this thing go on full bore on a full feeder, and it's just going to fill it, and it's going to not jam.
Yeah, so a couple revisions happened there. A couple things I wasn't expecting, like slow starts, like having it stop whenever half a brass is sitting on the ledge, and then starting again, and it'll just topple right over, and how to correct that. But every bit of that's John Royer and Outdoor Dynamics. It's all him. It's all his fault, but it's been fantastic and rewarding because it solves the problem. And emails, messages, reviews, stuff coming back from people, it blows my mind. We're able to double our production, and that's a major, reloader, and it's great. It really works.
Well, it really works, and it is a quality of life product, right? Like you don't know that you needed it until you buy it, and then you're like, where's this been all my reloading career, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the latest one is for the Apex, and that was that was unbelievable. I don't know how long that product's going to last. I would assume that they're going to realize that they're dropping the brass super, super late, and they need to be closer to a full commercial machine on the drop point to make that new revision. But there's a lot of Apex feeders out there, and we got a fix for it.
Did they change their feeder then from like the Revolution to the Apex?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your, as I'm looking at product pictures on the website, I'm like, yeah, that is a very late on the stroke. Well, I wouldn't say on the rotation. It's really late. It seems like.
Right.
But hey, you'd think they'd know. I mean, they're one of the best presses for reloading, automation. But at least for the small business pocket that we are.
I mean, I would say possibly whenever they changed hands that more people got involved and put their 2 cents in and might have missed a few things. And then they were full bore production as fast as they can go. Let's make money. And now they need a revision, but I'm here. I'm here to help solve the problems. Woo!
Solve the problem. Send me a check.
That's I love solving problems. I mean, that is what I want to do. I want to solve problems. It drives me for sure.
Well, that's cool too, right? Because not everyone wants to or has the ability to sit down and try to find the solution for a problem. There are a lot of people who can complain about the issues but not fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I get a lot of phone calls. About 2 or 3 a month of someone who will call. Hey, what do you think about this? Can this be made? How can it be made? And you kind of sit down and kind of give them a quote and give them an idea what it would take. That's another kind of side of the business. It's pretty cool because it's people in the industry, and I mean, customer service right now I think is also growing shooting sports innovations for sure. And now, you can't take the phone call when you're at the previous job, but now when somebody calls, you answer, they freak out because you're not an answering machine. You're actually a person. You chat with them for a while and then you generate sales in that area for next, 3 or 4 weeks because he's telling everybody, hey, I called this guy up and talked to him and we did this, that, and the other, and they enjoyed it. It's nice. Right.
Yeah. Well, and then it is nice because then, they build the connection, they talk to you, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'll buy again, right?
Yep.
Now, and I bet you have a lot of repeat customers because of that. They're like, oh, well, I need another one of these. I gave mine away to somebody, so I need another one. Or
Yep.
I'm building another tool head, and I don't feel like ripping apart my tool head, so I'll buy an alpha dropper powder funnel because why not?
Yep.
So much better. Such a better design than what Dylan was putting in their machines.
Man, and hey, solve the problem. I mean, the original one made me angry. So actually, I had a bullet feeder, so that was the other type of funnel, right? So you start sticking, and I'm loading 40, and it's sticking like crazy. You take it out, you polish it up, and you keep running some more, and then it starts sticking again. You take it out, and you take the mics and check it, and you're like, holy cow, it's tapered the wrong way. That's why it's popping. That's why it's sticking, and then you buy a new one, right? And you look at it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's fine, and it wears out within a couple thousand rounds the same way. Send them off and get them black nitrided so they can last longer. But that was like, no, this isn't good enough. No. I know how to stamp sheet metal. This we know how to make a punch. We know the angles and what it needs to be. Let's rock. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, the Alpha Dropper's been fantastic. I mean, and then the support from everybody in the shooting community has been great on that too. Because a good starting point for the Alpha Dropper that we put on the website and the instructions and everything came from feedback from everybody from all industries, shooting all types of bullets and all that different range brass and all the different length 9mm that's out there in the world, right? To find that good sweet spot, and it works really well with that taper currently.
Yeah, and just dialing it in, it takes you a minute when you get it, but then after that, just set it, forget it, and call it a day.
Yep.
I don't know where I'd be without mine because I would be very frustrated.
Thank you.
But so we've talked. You mentioned pre-show. Families out at a little one sporting event. When do you expect or going to try to get him involved with, into the shooting, or is he still just doing his own little thing right now?
So. On some of my reels, I don't know if you've seen them lately. I'm actually showcasing my daughter, my oldest one. The little one's 5, playing t-ball right now, and he of course wants to be like big sister, who's 13, and get out and shoot. But me and her both have been kind of debating. Like, she started when she was 8, and now we know that we can hand guns down to him and just work with them, be safe, of course, right out of the gate, and see where we can and can't compete with him. But right now, Jessa, my daughter, who's a ballerina, is also a GSSF shooter. Me and her go together and enjoy these matches, and it's fantastic. I mean, you got the whole mental game going on with her. She's just, her hands, she's getting taller. Her hands are growing. She's, getting used to the recoil of a 19 or 17, and she's doing a whole lot better. She's shaving time off every time. Last weekend, she won a pistol. So in GSSF, you win 3 pistols, you're master, and she's going for the record, which is age 14 and 9 months, and she's 13. So if she wins 2 more guns, she'll be the youngest female GSSF master. So it's kind of like, whew, how much pressure we're going to put on this little girl? And I don't have to put any pressure at all. She puts it on herself. She really does. It's pretty cool.
Well, and then she's also, at what point does she stop winning the guns?
Well, yeah, right.
Well, because isn't there a GSSF limit or something, or is it per division, or if you win so many?
See, after you win 3 guns, they put you in a master class, and then you can only win 1 gun per match.
Yeah, that's
they kind of cut you back a little bit.
Well, they want to save their bottom line too, I guess, right?
They really put a lot of money into these matches, though. I mean, Glock does. I mean, they have to. However, they're figuring out the return on investment. It must really work out for them because they, hands down, they pump way more money in, put more time in than any other match or any other industry that I know of currently.
Right. Well, and you get so many more of the general populist gun enthusiasts to those matches than you would, like, say, a USPSA IDPA kind of match or even Steel Challenge.
Right. Yeah, it's a good group. It's a good family group. I mean, as you can imagine, they got this redheaded 13-year-old girl that's not whipping a lot of people, and then you hear her shooting, and they're like, she's 13? Holy cow! And then they come over and chat with her about it afterwards, and and give her inspiration, and it's pretty neat. As a father, I'm really tickled. Hands down. I mean, it's really cool to go out and practice distance change up, or work on some bill drills, or just run a plate rack backwards and forwards, and just kind of teaching her what she needs to see, calling the shot, as Steve Anderson says, and then working on transitions as fast as your splits and things like that I have a hard time learning, but she sucks it up and progresses, and I'm just like, there she is, let her go. She's just let her roll, and you're going to have another Maddie situation where he's spanking everybody all the time, and it's very rewarding. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, between that or Dylan, Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan can't hurt as many souls now because he's not a junior anymore. So
correct.
That's okay. We'll give him a hard time. At least Matthew does too. That's the best part, is they get to pick on each other.
Right.
Thank you for watching another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, please go patronize our sponsors here when you are available. We've got Hunters HD Gold, Go Fast Don't Suck, Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, Range Panda, Southern Bobby Q, Laugh and Load, Summit City Bullets, 2 Alpha Apparel, and Tom Castro Shoot Academy. Now let's get back to this episode. But you mentioned Steve Anderson a minute ago. At what point did you get affiliated with Steve?
So he came into the class at Rowan back in the day. I mean, it would have been like, maybe it might have been 15, 16 ish. He came through and did a class, and it's just been a great relationship ever since. I mean, he definitely, he is the mental guy. If you ever think you can't do something or don't know what calling a shot is, and have any struggles, he's the guy who can help get your head in the right spot. I mean, you always say, like, for awesome drills, you always want to go online and find some of the old videos of good shooters, good IPSC shooters. And for mental, you want to go to Steve Anderson. And then if you want to get your butt kicked and learn what it means to go fast, you need to take a class with Bill Drummond. That's the key, I think.
Yeah, and Bill finally is now in senior category, which is crazy to think.
He don't move like a senior though, does he?
No, not at all. I mean, he's still vying at World Shoot for, all he's worth, right? He's ready to smack it down. That's for sure.
Yep.
That is for sure. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's cool, right? As everyone knows, Steve is the mental guy. He is the guy to get you to unfuck yourself. I'll say it. I'll say it like that because
Yeah.
he really has a way of saying it,
Mm-hmm.
and it resonates with people too. And how everyone understands Steve is a different. How they take Steve's words is always different too, right? Like,
Right.
and some things that work for Steve don't necessarily work for. Well, at least how Steve interprets it mentally is different for everybody, right? So, that's cool, right? And Steve's always a good guy, and it's like I mentioned earlier. His intro commercial, and he's talking about the finest things, and he always has got to come up with or say the North Carolina sobriety test if you can pass it. I don't know, it's that or hand the officer a case of cheerwine, right?
Yeah.
Cherry syrup soda, right?
Yep. Good times.
That is a good time. But I guess where's my next question going with this? Oh, so as your daughter's doing GSSF, the little one's 5 playing t-ball at the moment. Do you still get out often enough to go shoot your local matches, or is it pretty much all invested in the kids?
Yeah, I still go to Rowan and do that. Been up to Sir Walter a little bit here recently, which was really fun. I went to Sir Walter to try to get some practice with my Glock for GSSF. So you roll up there with a Glock 29, if you know what that is. That's a compact 10 millimeter, which scares women and children, right? So I'm up there shooting long shots with this thing, just having a blast, and everybody's just shaking their heads like, why are you doing this? Why? And it's like, you don't understand. I got to practice. I got to, get ready for this Glock match. And my time with my daughter's flipping sweet. But now there's an indoor, Lake Norman indoor during the week that I'm going to start digging into a little bit more. And, practice at home a good bit more, especially with the NC Carolina Classic coming up.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there any chance of your daughter wanting to start shooting USPSA, or is she only want to shoot Glock matches?
So that's interesting. And everybody at a great group of people, right? They're always asking, "Where's Jessa? Where's she at? Why isn't she here?" They want to know, why isn't she at this USPSA match? And just being honest, when you talk to her, she wants to perfect shooting this Glock because she knows it's a tough trigger, and she wants to win at these Glock matches and stay focused on it versus starting to run around. I think once she's ready to start running around, it's going to take no time at all, being she's a dancer. I mean, it's going to be a piece of cake to keep her safe and just let her speed just take over. But she wants to really work on mastering the shooting side first and the gun manipulation first. And at 13, I respect that for sure.
Absolutely. And she's a ballerina. She's got other curriculars, I'm assuming too, or dreaded middle school years, right? Like the stop being growing up, stop making me feel so old kind of things.
Exactly. She doesn't hate me right now, which I hear as they get older, they can hate their fathers. So we'll find out. But you don't know that because you don't have any kids yet. But when you do, we're here to help you.
Yeah. I don't know. I have fur babies, right? Like that's my thing. Like I'll take the fur babies any day of the week because for the most part they can't argue with you and they might just give you side eye. But that's like, what are you talking about? I still have to feed you. Like you can't be mad at me forever. And then they get over it, which is funny.
Yeah. I know what's going to happen. I know Brian Wolf has mentioned it plenty of times. The group of children that move into USPSA and everybody supports them and watches them grow up and move on, and then there's another group that comes in. And you watch them grow up and move on. So they're ready to see Jessa get out here and start shooting in the dirt pits, but in time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got that goal, right? We're going to try to make that goal. Of the youngest female GSSF master, right? So we got a year basically to knock that out. So possibly after that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just see. Sure. I mean, right now she's getting junior female checks, top junior female, top amateur female in the Glock girls category. I mean, we're talking. Mama's okay with this right now. I mean, my wife at one time was like, "Hey, why did you spent this much money to go here, and you got a piece of wood to put on the wall, and I like my wall, and why do you have all this junk on my wall?" Type deal,
Yeah.
But now Jessica comes home and the check comes in the mail, and she's like, "Look, Mom," and Mom's like, "Oh, wow, okay, well, this is working out pretty well. Y'all can keep going to these matches."
Right. So who signs for her check then? Since she's only 13.
yeah. I mean, I sign the back and direct deposit it and keep on digging. And now I'll typically put it into her account and
Yeah.
send her. I mean, I pay her here with Apple Cash, which makes her really happy. She'll go downstairs and bag some products for me, or she'll run the laser and mark parts for me, whatever I need, and she keeps up with her time, and I just pay her with Apple Cash. And as a 13-year-old, if she has Apple Cash, she can buy Lululemon stuff, so she's tickled.
Oh, Lululemon. Ugh. More leggings that you have to deal with.
Leggings and pocketbooks and all those things. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, fun part of being a girl dad, right?
Yeah.
Boys aren't allowed at your house, I'm assuming, right?
No, we've had a couple, but yeah, no, we don't have that issue right now. But I know it's gonna happen sooner or later. They do freak out whenever they see videos of her shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's got to be intimidating. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure, and I know I'm excited to see where that goes too. Right? As most junior shooters eventually they either find boys or girls, they find one or the other, and they stop caring, or they start going out and doing other things, and they just go away from the shooting sports. And
yeah, and we've had that conversation lots of times. My experience that I've seen is the parents put too much pressure on kids at USPSA matches where there's a lot of high stress going on, and just why'd you do that? Just give them a hard time, and then kids don't want to come shoot anymore, and maybe like 2 or 3 matches, and poof, they're gone. So, or try another sport. So, I don't know. They got to have a reason. They got to have a goal. Like they can't just come shoot because dad told them to, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's really cool. Your daughter does have a goal, right? It's not just do this with me because it's something to do. It's she's got a goal at this point.
Yeah, and she's invested, right? I load ammo once a year. In December, that's whenever I load my 2 5-gallon buckets of 40, and that'll take me. And this year, of course, added in a bucket of 10 millimeter or half a bucket of 10 millimeter for these Glock matches. And then she loads her own 9 millimeter. So, she understands overall length and powder and crimp and all that stuff. She rocks it. Over there making her little blue bullets.
So why are you shooting 10 millimeters? Does that put you in a different category or division for GSSF?
It does. Yeah, it puts you into 2 different categories. And I just load it like, 40 minor, long 40 minor and let her rip.
Oh, so you got your bunny farts going on.
I can't remember what the feet per second is. It's like 850. So yeah, it's pretty low.
Yeah. No, hey, nothing wrong with it, right? As long as it makes the gun cycle.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to have all the stock parts in there, so you got to have the gun cycle.
Yeah, that's for sure. You don't want to unreliable. I mean, that's the thing. Glock perfection, reliability. As soon as you start, there's a lot of pieces and parts that you can tinker with, and they just become turds because they don't work.
But a benefit that you might not know of at a GSSF match, because we see it. Somebody rolls up in there with their all tricked out Glock with all the aftermarket parts. They have 2 malfunctions. They have to go to the armorer before they can continue shooting. So they go to the armorer for free. He takes the gun apart. He takes all the aftermarket parts out. He puts all fresh new Glock parts in, and then he can go and complete the match. And he gets all of his aftermarket parts in a little baggie for him to keep. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool, especially if you have an old clapped out gun or something, and you go, "Hey, I got a problem," and they can rebuild it for you right there.
Right, that is pretty nice. I never knew that, but I don't think. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go look for a GSSF match near me then, because that does sound fun.
It's not easy. I mean, it's really not. I mean, you can roll a 2.7 2.7 or a 3.0 on a plate rack, and be pretty competitive. But if you're shooting major sub, which is a division I shoot, you only have one extra round. It's 6 plates and 7 rounds, so you only have one extra. And if you mess around and whiff one and go back and miss it again, and you left a plate sticking up, it's 10 seconds. So I mean, you killed your entire match right there, screwing around trying to go fast. Same thing with the paper, right? As Tim Heron says, shooting like an a-hole, right? If you just go in there guns a-blazing and not looking at the sights, and you're going to have more penalties than raw time. You're just not going to be competitive.
Right. Oh, I know that greatly. I went and shot the Falling Steel World Series up here at the Cardinal Shooting Center, and I when you give a lot of extra shots, it's just a bunch of time you're giving away, and
right,
it's no fun. That's for sure.
I mean, some people talk smack about Glock matches. I mean, they do, but I know little Maddie, to give him a hard time because he's proud of his Glock moment. Whenever he came and shot it, he left 2 plates up, and he's just kind of beside himself. How did that happen? I mean, it's still very challenging.
Right. Well, speaking of that, Maddie hung out with you most of the weekend the other day down in South Carolina, not working.
Yeah, he hung out with us for 2 full stages. He was having a good time. He was really impressed with Jessa's first shot, which now she's from the beep. Her first shot's faster than mine right now, so I'm kind of bummed, but it's okay.
It's okay. You're proud of your daughter, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's always the thing of you want to do well, but I think that probably gives most people more joy as someone else doing, your child or your person you've been coaching to do better than your actual performance. Yeah,
she'll typically shoot before me, and sometimes she's reloading mags while I'm shooting. But I mean, here of late, when I get done shooting and you're rolling to the next stage, I mean, she's there to give you a high five, and your daughter giving you a high five, saying good job. I mean, that's my job. That's what I should be doing, right? And she's giving it back now, and it's a big deal. We're having a good time for sure.
Love it. And that's all you can ask for, right? Like just having those, these memories you're going to have forever with your daughter shooting GSSF matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to, as everyone says, I don't have children, but everyone says you only have 18 summers with your kids, right?
Right.
And they fly by.
Right. And, just to add, not a tearjerker into this, right? But my dad, we started shooting together USPSA like in 2012. I think it was like 58. And so it was like daddy bonding time round 2, just me and him. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2018 to cancer. And that was a hard hit locally for a lot of people because his legacy, one of his pieces of his legacy was helping people, especially new shooters. I mean, he would buy books and give them Anderson books and stuff and just do things to try to help people all the time. And he's always helping people. And I'm still trying to fill those boots. But my daughter right now is shooting his Glock 17 that he used to shoot with me at Glock matches. So it's really surreal to see her competing with his gun and enjoying it, and her saying, "I want to shoot Pawpaw's gun," and that's that's a tough one, but it's working out It's working out for sure. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. And you're never going to get rid of that. And wherever that gun ends, if she keeps it or you keep it, I mean, whoever holds on to that, there's always going to be those memories for everybody, and that's the cool thing, right?
Yeah.
I wish that I found this earlier in life. I mean, I'm not old really, but I wish I could spend some time doing this with my father. We don't have the same hobbies, but it'd be something cool to do together. But that's always cool. I love it when I see siblings or parentals and kids out on the range together. It's always cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got a son and a father who come shoot our local match, and it was funny because I remember watching the boy start just shooting his 22 at all the targets, and he'd eventually knock down all the steel. It was kind of funny, and now he's shooting 9mm, and it's he's putting hurt on his dad, which is even more fun because it's like, and he's so happy as a clamshell, but he's still half as tall as his dad. Just like,
right. Yeah, so I needed to make sure I had a couple timelines figured out, if depending on what questions you had, and then I went through some of my pictures, just kind of seeing what some dates were, because I couldn't rattle them all off. And it was funny pulling up some single stack photos of Dylan slinging the magazines in the air, and how I saved them every time, because I witnessed it, right? I mean, I shot with his grandpa whenever I started, and his dad Robert, and Dylan, and him whenever he was shooting single stack was always awesome, because the way he would drop it and sling that freaking gun, he would hit people watching, right? I mean, you'd be sitting there with a handful of pacers getting ready to pace, and a single stack mag would pop you in the chest, right, from this little kid. It was fantastic. Everybody loved it. It was almost like, who can he hit with these things? And it was good times.
That is some good times, right? And those memories are always going to be with you for sure. Those are always some good fun times. Then you just get to laugh about it later. Like, do you remember when you couldn't you couldn't shoot a mag, and you couldn't reload correctly, so you threw it at everybody?
Oh yeah. We were reminiscing the other day, and he called me the uncle. He told me I'm like his uncle, because we've been around for so long. And it's the business too, right? I mean, it's the support of the local people, watching this business grow, and spreading the word to other people. It's great. I'm blessed for sure.
Right. And, and that's the cool thing, right? With the support in the community and your local shooters, that's how the business grows. It develops, and it gets out there to the, out to the internet, and everyone finds it, buys it, and, and then you become a household name. Like, oh, I'm building another, say I'm building another 2011. Oh, well, I need to go order a nitro fin and get all these other parts. And now, do you think, when you started the company in 2012, do you ever think you'd be where you are today with it?
No way. I mean, I have 87 SKUs, 87 different parts. Never, ever would I have thought that. But I knew I couldn't just have one part and that be the only part, right? Once and done. I mean, if it was just nitro fins, that's all I made, it definitely, the business wouldn't grow. You have to diversify. I mean, PCC came out. Ooh, let's make a magwell for the gun that everybody wants. Here we go. CZs doesn't have grips. People are shooting CZs now. Okay, let's make some grips. I mean, it's a problem happens. The industry changes. Try to find a niche, in that market, and go, right? As it was, they make the money when you can make the money, right? I mean, but it's been very rewarding, though. You solve a problem and get some kudos from people. It's really cool.
It truly is, right? And then, we never know. You never know where you're going to be in 5 years, right? You could be. You never know, right? Do you have plans or a goal or a dream for SSI in 5 years?
Everything's just make it manageable. Keep it manageable. It is turning into 2,000 orders a year. Dealing with packages and labels, and it is killing some time, right? So I would say definitely employing my children more to handle that day-to-day stuff, to give me a chance to draw and design more things and solve more problems, would be where I really want to get to. But right now it's like I said, no regrets. It's been a dream for sure. I don't know if I'll ever get to brick and mortar, for the business. I'm not sure if I ever get to employees. You talk to people, especially in the racing community that I've reached out to, they say, don't do it. Stay in your basement as long as you can. Don't get employees that are pain in the butt, but if you're going to grow, it's kind of a step you kind of have to take at some point in time. So, well, like I said, I just want to keep it manageable, keep it going. I passed the 10-year mark, right? That's a big thing for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Typically, at past 10 years, they're gone. And that's a part of the horror story too, right? You got people who bust up in there with a product and an idea, and then they brick and mortar down the street, building up the manufacturing, and then poof, they're gone. They go in so deep in debt, they just can't handle it. So there's lots of lessons out there. It's wisdom, right? You got to sit there and take it in the best you can, and enjoy the ride, right? Just enjoy the ride. Life is short.
Right, 100%. And and a lot of those businesses, even a lot of them, didn't survive COVID. Like they couldn't keep open, and that's how a lot of cool businesses and especially restaurants that I like to eat at, they closed.
Right.
But yeah.
COVID really helped me out. It really did, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, online sales, people couldn't go anywhere, so they wanted to buy everything.
Well, that and when you're dealing with powder nylon, you need to have a mask on. And our local discount store down the road, you bought like 100 masks for $1, and because after COVID, nobody had them, nobody needed them, right? So helped me out. It's pretty cheap PPE these days.
Right. Can't complain about that, right?
No.
That's for sure. So, Nathan, we are near the little bit of the end of the time for today, but I do have just a few short more questions.
Okay.
This is the part where we talk about, usually I talk about sponsors with people, but you're a business, right? So you have probably business partners or affiliate, not affiliates, but other people that you support or they support you. This is the part where I let you kind of share the love, I guess.
Well, Outdoor Dynamics and Make Stuff Better, those guys are definitely partners in crime for sure. And we always bounce stuff off of each other, what to do and what not to do. And they're just great people. Locally, you got the Blue Bullets, you got Monkey Brass Bullets. I mean, you got guys who've supported us through the years that are just fantastic. And just keep it local, right? I mean, just the local people are what can make or break you, and this is a success story for sure.
Mm-hmm. And it's really cool the fact that you're there for each other, you bounce ideas off each other, you trade services, and it's really cool. You get to grow. I call you the North Carolina trifecta because it just seems like everything works together, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't get one. Well, you're all too damn close to each other anyway, but you can't get one without the other or something. It seems like, but and I agree. Both those guys, those John and Brian, are awesome dudes, and they're good to deal with and work with. So I can't complain either. So
right.
But Nathan, if people want to get a hold of you, talk about products, talk about like some idea they may have or something, what's the best place for them to reach you at?
So probably the easiest is cell number, which is on the website. I also have a chat bot on there that it's a bot when I'm offline, but during work hours I'm live. So as soon as you pop on the little chat bot on the website, just start typing and I'll be right there. It's right to my cell phone. Stop what I'm doing immediately and respond. So that's probably the fastest way for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is pretty cool. I mean, it's not every day where the chat bot is the actual person, who actually runs the business. Usually it's some, computer trying to figure out what you want, and then they still give you a bad answer.
Right. And then email, of course, works too. It's info@shootingsportsinnovations.com, which is a lot to type, but
hey, a lot to type, a lot to see, a lot of things to buy, right? And that's what you can't complain about. But Nathan, thank you, dude, for coming on here and chatting with me and having a good time. I appreciate the conversations, and hopefully listeners enjoyed this one as well. Go check them out, shootingsportsinnovations.com. Go buy, Oh, we can't end. We have one more question. Why the scary fish?
Why the scary fish?
Yeah, why the barracuda?
It's a barracuda. I have a barracuda. I started working on it when I was 13, and I worked with my dad to restore the car and drive the car and drag race the car some. So they called me Cuda Man, was my nickname at my previous job too. So that's where the scary fish comes from. Throw some ideas together, sit down with an artist who can really throw down on what you want and create a logo. So scary fish shooting a gun.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, and that's cool. I didn't even know that, but now I thought it was actually about like a fish, but no, yes, barracuda the car makes more sense, especially in your line of work. So
yep.
So there, now you know why there's scary fish, everybody. But like I said, Nathan, thank you for coming on, and listeners, get out and do the things. I'm going to see you on the next one.
That's right.